major malfunction, numbnuts!
Why don't you jump on the team and come on in for the big win?
We all know him as Gunnery Sgt Hartman, Ermey, a Marine drill instructor who later became an icon in Full Metal Jacket. Let's go.
In Stanley Kubrick's 1986 Vietnam War film Full Metal Jacket, R. Lee Ermey would become famous as Marine drill instructor Gunnery Sgt Hartman. 20 years earlier, Ermey had been a real sergeant, training Marines to go to Vietnam.
And I can tell this jackass reporter calling him a real sergeant. He was a staff sergeant when he got out. Maybe he was a sergeant when he was in boot camp as a drill instructor, but Kelly just clueless.
1966, the sky fell in on us. The roof caved in, and all of a sudden, they needed warm bodies in Vietnam. Now we're picking up 120 privates, which if you line 120 privates up, boy, oh boy, it looks like a mule train. So we got twice as many privates, but yet now we're not just infiltrating these privates into modern-day Marine Corps. Now we're sending these privates to Vietnam to fight the war.
From 1966 through 1973, sergeants in the Marine Corps trained over 335,000 new recruits.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're in the midst of a war, you cut down training. And I don't know, you guys put it in the comments, back in the Vietnam era, was it boot camp, then you're deployed, or is it boot camp, infantry training, then you're deployed? But either way, cutting down 4 weeks of boot camp makes absolutely no sense during a war. But let's get back to the gunny.
All of them came through the Marine Corps recruit depots in Parris Island, South Carolina, or San Diego, California, where Lee Ermey served from 1966 through 1968.
That's what it is, a Hollywood Marine.
You can't hold yourself responsible, but you feel that you are. You feel that you have a lot to say about whether they're prepared to go into combat or whether they're not. There's not a sergeant in the Marine Corps that doesn't feel that they're ultimately responsible, totally responsible for each and every individual in their command. And I think the drill instructors were under tremendous pressure back in those days.
When the Marine Corps basic training was cut to 8 weeks, it added additional pressure to the sergeant's job. The shortened time to get recruits ready for war made an intense process even more fierce.
I didn't know anyone that didn't raise a hand to a private, but it was a constructive raise of a hand. It was not a, I want to hit you so that I can hurt you and abuse you type.
Even 20 years later, when I was in, it was the same thing as far as the corrective actions. That didn't change a lot. I don't know what it's like today. You guys put it in the comments and what they're not supposed to do. But there's lots of woods in Parris Island. Lots of times in the barracks they can take care of things in a corrective action
type thing. It was, did you learn anything from that private? Which side was that private, pile? Right side, huh? Or left side? What side was that private, pile? He knows forever. The rest of his life he knows which side is this, which side's the left side of his face and which side's the right face.
The world got a dramatic close-up look at sergeants training recruits when Full Metal Jacket was released.
Sir, I said it, sir!
Well, no what have we got here? A comedian, private joker. I admire your honesty. Hell, I like you. You can come over to my house and my sister. You little scumbag! I got your name. I got your ass! You will not laugh. You will not cry. You will learn by the numbers. I will teach you. Now get up. Get on your feet. My main objective was just basically to play the drill instructor the way the drill instructor was. Now,
I think the reason my buddies in the Marine Corps liked this movie was it was about the most realistic thing you could see, except there was 3 drill instructors we were in, including a senior drill instructor. So, but the one-liners, the insults, just the mannerisms are so on point. You can tell even 20 years after he was a drill instructor, he did this movie, he shined through.
Now let the chips fall where they may. You had best yourself or I will unscrew your head and down your neck.
Sir, yes, sir!
Private Joker, why did you join my beloved corps?
Sir, to kill, sir!
So you're a killer?
Sir, yes, sir!
Let me see your war face.
Sir!
You got a war face? Ah! That's the war face! Now let me see your war face!
Ah! Bull! You didn't convince me. Let me see your real war face. Ah! You don't scare me. Work on it. Sir, yes, sir!
You can ask any drill instructor who was down there in 1965, 1966. That's exactly the way the drill instructor's demeanor was. There was no punches pulled. Marine Corps never did condone maltreatment. It's always been against regulation. It's always been against the law. But our workload was just terrible. So rather than drop him down for 25 push-ups, it was real simple and real quick for me just to walk past him and drop him to his knees with a little shot in the solar plexus and a little verbal chastising right there on the spot. Now get up and let's rock and roll.
Makes sense to me. What do you guys think? Some of these guys can push, push, and push. Remember, we had a guy that could do scuzz brush races up and down, never quit. So they gave him about 6 canteens of warm water, solved that problem. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments.
And let's learn and let's train.
The script received an Academy Award nomination, but many of Ermey's lines were taken straight from his experiences during the war.
And the way we did it was we would discuss this scene. Kubrick would punch the button on his tape recorder, and I would go on and off, or whatever you want to call it, until I ran out of gas. I'd do it 3 or 4 times. And then we would take the tape and we would send it down to the production secretary. She would transcribe that and send it back up to us. And we would just select the juiciest lines out of this 10 or 12 pages of typewritten dialogue. Just pick the juiciest lines and incorporate those into the scene. The thing on his agenda when he got into that mess hall was to head right for that table because Stars and Stripes newspapers were there. And we would go right to the back page, and it was the obituaries from Vietnam. And you'd read down, and if any of your guys were on there, it was painful, very painful.
I imagine that was tough for those drill instructors. Think about it. They cut training time down. You're getting guys that aren't as qualified as you did before this because of what's going on with Vietnam. And now you got to send them off because these guys all are the best actors in the world as drill instructors.
You're not mad at them. It's my thing that's going through my mind is, are all the other privates able to hear me? Should I? Let's see. We're pretty close to the front of the platoon. I should face him instead of facing square into him. I need to face this way so that all the rest of the platoon, each individual in the platoon, can hear exactly what the hell I've got to say to private, whoever it is.
This thing is done. That's what damn me.
I'm a firm believer that the greatest instructors in the Marine Corps today and in yesteryear have always been just damn near stand-up comedians.
You just want to get to know.
I would agree with them on that. The stuff they can come up with one after the other. If you weren't so scared to death, you'd be laughing.
Me better, huh? Shut up.
Contrary to popular belief, learning how to do a right face when it's about 95 degrees in the shade is not really very much fun. And it's not so interesting either, so you do really have to keep their attention. I never had a soft side with them. I don't have a soft side with you. I don't have a soft side with any damn body. So I can take a private that can do 9 pull-ups, and damn it, by the time I finish talking to that private, he can do 12. Why? Because I've intimidated this private so severely that I've convinced him that he can do 12 or he's going to die. That's why. And so when it starts to be painful, he doesn't quit.
Okay, boys, for the month of July, your tails are mine. You're gonna walk, talk, eat, and sleep military might. The whole month is weapons, heroes, and history. Do you have something to say to me?
Grandpa, your burgers are burning.
Eddie's.
Call Grandma!
Thanks for watching.
Private Pile, what are you trying to do to my beloved Corps?
Sir, I don't know, sir.
You are dumb, Private Pile, but do you expect me to believe that you don't know left from right?
Sir, no, sir.
Then you did that on purpose. You want to be different.
Sir, no, sir.
What side was that, Private Pile?
Sir, left side, sir.
Are you sure, Private Pile?
Sir, yes, sir.
What side was that, Private Pile?
Sir, right side, sir.
Don't fuck with me again, Pile. Pick up your fucking cover. Your days of finger banging old Mary Jane Rottencrotch through her pretty pink panties are over. You're married to this piece, this weapon of iron and wood. And you will be faithful. Hey, get your fat ass over there, Private Pile. Oh, that's right, Private Pile. Don't make any fucking effort to get up to the top of the fucking obstacle. I'll bet you if there was some pussy up there on top of that obstacle, you could get up there, couldn't you?
Science, sir!
Your ass looks like about 150 pounds of chewed bubble gum.